maybe 15 years ago, I was watching a documentary where they were talking about child actors and their experience on TV and behind the scenes in Hollywood and the like. And I remember there was this one section of the program about how do you get child actors to cry when there's a scene where they have to cry on set. And one child was recounting, or adult now, but recounting about when he was a child on the set. The director came up to him and said, "I killed your mother," in an attempt to try to get him to cry. And he just laughed because it was so ludicrous, it was just out of place. And so it did the exact opposite of what the director said. And then following that story, it said about Little House on the Prairie. And so this girl from Little House on the Prairie was talking about her own experience and Michael Landon. And I was saying, "Oh, please, don't tell me that Michael Landon did something horrible to this little girl to make her cry so that she could cry on set." But what she said he did, he knocked on the door of her dressing room, and she comes, and there he is standing with tears in his eyes. And he looks at her and says, "Do you have any idea how much I love you?" And they just both broke down and cried together as he shared that love with her. And then he said, "Are you ready to do the scene?" But that, of course, was because of his genuine love for the other people he worked with. He brought that emotion out of her. And I think of this with the prophet Jeremiah today. This is God saying to us in tears, "Do you have any idea how much I love you?" He says, "I just want you to know my love." This section of Jeremiah for the next few chapters, I'm not sure how much you'll get into in the lectionary, but for the next few chapters is about the bride. How God is saying, "You are my bride." And he says, "I remember your devotion from your youth, how you loved me as a bride, and he is the bridegroom. And see how much I love you. I've called you. Remember back when we were in the desert in the land unsown. Sacred to the Lord was Israel, the first fruits of his harvest. How you followed me, you trusted in me, you relied on me. You know how much I love you. And yet," he says, "and yet 2 evils have my people done. They have forsaken me, the source of living waters. They have dug themselves cisterns, broken cisterns that hold no waters. Not only have you forsaken me in my great love, now you've tried to make your own things that'll fulfill you and fill you up with living water, and these broken cisterns don't even hold any water whatsoever." He says, "Come back to me. Do you not know my love?" And I see this as God calling us so close to his heart, luring us. I was talking to someone the other day, and he was saying about his children. He says, over the years he's tried to push them towards God and push them towards God. And he says, the problem is they're like string. You can't push them. You have to pull them. And that's God. God doesn't push us to himself. He lures us. He draws us. He calls us. So he says, "Will you not turn away from your sin? Will you not turn away from all these other empty things? Do you have any idea how much I love you?"